Hello and welcome to the next ReeVlog. Today I have an actual topic. How rare. It is the work-life balance thing. But for me, presently, it's more of a work-work balance. Because I want to do... Sorry, I nearly spilled my tea. My mixed martial arts fighting as soon as I can. Which means I've got to train real hard. On top of which, the end goal is to be able to instruct Kung Fu, which again means I've got a lot of training to do, because I've got to do many repetitions of movements so that I don't have to think about them, so that I can do them well enough to be able to grade. On top of which there are forms to learn, which are sort of 30 to 60 moves long at this point. I currently know a lot of them. But there will be more that I will need to learn going forward. And, I'll just turn on the lights real quick, I also have my self-defense business that I'm currently running, which will be the platform for my Kung Fu instructing as well. So that's sort of three things where I have business-related interests. Of course, all of them are in some way like leisure-related. Like this afternoon, I will be doing Kung Fu with my brother, which is one of the very few social occasions with him that I actually enjoy. I don't enjoy it every time, but sometimes I do, which, yeah, it's like, occasionally we enjoy our little chats, but for the most part, he comes at very awkward times for me. But this is scheduled, doing something that we have in common, being Kung Fu, and it's one of the few things that I know better than him. And he's willing to admit that, so, yeah. I'm sure I know other things better than him as well, but he's very rarely willing to admit it. Yeah. So, what my current issue is, that I have to do a business plan for my night self-defense business. In order to be successful in applying for funding, it needs to be really good, so I've got to spend a lot of time on it. On top of which, I spend at least 8 hours a week working on online resources, usually more. Like this week, I probably put in 24 hours maybe working on online resources. And then I also need to do strength and conditioning training, which currently is at a minimum of 5 hours a week, because it takes roughly an hour to do one of the workouts that my PT has set for me. At present, it will not be likely to get faster because progressive overload will just up the reps or the weight. Ideally the weight, because if we up the reps it's going to take even longer. But I won't be able to do it faster because you need to be able to do slow, controlled movements in order to properly work the muscles. But on top of that, there's my own fitness training that I do. I go for my runs, which is about an hour a week. Go for walks because I've got a 10k step goal that I aim to meet every day, and so far this week I've only failed it once. And sort of on average I'm currently at about 9,000, so if I get to 11,000 today, that will probably bring the average up to about 10,000. And then I've obviously got to do technique training, both for Kung Fu and for MMA. Usually, I would have around 3 hours a week of MMA Kung Fu training under an instructor, but that is not currently the case because lockdown, which sucks really bad. However, can still train on my own. But now I've got to add in finding things to train for MMA, and the training for Kung Fu is progressively less and less efficient, getting diminishing returns from it because I've not got anything new to practice. So the more I practice something, the better I get at it, but at a certain point, it's not worth practicing it dedicatedly anymore and just throw it in general practice sessions because I know it well enough to do that. Whereas I could learn new things which would take me forward towards my next belt, and then I could start learning more new things. But we will see how it goes. On top of which, I'm looking for a new house, or flat, or whatever. So I've got to pack, I've got to do the searches, I've got to go to viewings, all of that good stuff. And then after that comes life. So yeah, I feel as though I'm working really, really hard. I'm busy all the time. I had yesterday afternoon off from about 12:30, yeah, like 12:30 noon-ish, 30 minutes till 1 PM. I had that off, and that was the longest break I've had in a while. I don't know how long. I don't keep track of things like that, but it was a long time. Probably 3 weeks, something like that, which was good, of course, but yeah, hard times. That was for someone's birthday, so I worked really hard on the Friday to make sure I had time for it. So today is going to be another super busy day, and then Monday and so on will be as well. And I'm not complaining about how busy I am, but I know that it will burn me out if I'm not careful. So I'm trying to think of ways to reduce the amount of time I spend doing things, either by increasing efficiency or by just spreading it out over a longer period of time so that I actually get breaks. But also, I'm on income support, like universal credit stuff now, so I feel that I need to be like really busy doing stuff for my business and all of that, because otherwise people will say, well, you've got so much time, why don't you get a job? And I've applied for a few jobs, but I've not got any. And if I'm really busy working on stuff all the time, then people probably won't think, he's just a lazy nobody who doesn't do anything. Not that I really care what people think, but it really irritates me when they say it to me. Not the lazy nobody thing, people are generally more polite than that. But, yeah, not always. But people are like, well, you've got a schedule, you've got a break in there, why don't you fit a job in there, 5 hours a day? You'll still have the other 3 hours of your usual 8-hour work day, even though it's usually more than that these days, isn't it? Why don't you just do that? And I'm like, well, I've got to switch gears, got travel time, so that's probably about 3 hours, hour there, hour back, hour to focus my brain, and then I don't have time to spend on things that are what I'm spending on for the future. I would rather appear to be a mooch now and put in all the work and be able to do what I want to do in the future than, like, get a job and hate life by the time I'm 30. Yeah, so the awkward part is the lack of success I'm having, I suppose. There are no fights at the moment for me to be put into. Also, I've got my neck pain, which is still playing up, but hopefully that'll go away soon. It has been improving over the course of the week, so looking hopeful. And I also don't get many clients. I usually have one every Monday, but they can't make it tomorrow, which puts my profit margins for the month down. Not profit margins, but my debt decrease, my loss decreasingness. Post-lockdown, maybe I'll get a few more. Come the new year, people want to get fit, take up new jobs, not new jobs, but new hobbies and stuff, so fingers crossed that'll go well. Perhaps the vaccine thing for COVID will be released, so people will stop worrying as much, but who knows? Who knows? Anyway, I'm gonna go because I'm busy and have to do training, so I'm going to train. Haha! And I will catch you cats on the flip-flop.